Hey guys, what is up? This is Matt. Today it's me once again. Welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw. Yeah, I'm doing another review back in the apartment because I've been driving out a lot, but it's been giving me a lot more freedom rather than having to take an Uber because it saves me money. That's not really the point. The point is I'm here to talk about Predator Badlands, the latest Predator film and the first one to be PG-13. Unfortunately. Well, unfortunately isn't. Well, let's just get into it, okay? This movie is once again directed by Dan Trachtenberg, the director of Prey, and he also directed an animated movie called Predator. I don't know, but I heard it was really good, so I haven't seen it yet, but I do want to check it out. And with this movie, we follow the Predator, who's also known as Deck, as he is out to avenge his brother, and he has to look for a creature called the Callisk. And he meets up with an android, or half of an android, played by Ellie Fanning, as they team up to go and hunt down the Callisk, as they both need the creature more than ever. And yeah, I was more excited for this movie than I was skeptical, because there are some things about this movie that I was looking forward to. Well, okay, it's the fact that, Dan Trachtenberg was going to be directing, because I really enjoyed Prey. I think that's the best Predator movie since the original Predator, and I really loved his directorial debut, 10 Cloverfield Lane. I thought that movie was amazing, so I had a feeling that this was the man to trust when it came to bringing the Predator franchise back. Now, of course, the movie did receive backlash when the trailer came out, because not only did the Predator not look like the Predator that we all know and love, he looked more like a tough, badass guy rather than, the regular one that we all know and love from, previous Predator films. But, of course, more of that backlash came when it turned out that this movie was going to be PG-13. And yes, that did have me a little bit nervous, but look, just because a movie is going PG-13 doesn't automatically mean it's going to be bad. There are a few PG-13 rated entries in popular franchises like Live Free or Die Hard. That movie was great, and when it went back to R-rated with the next film, it turned out to be the worst in the franchise. Also, the first two Hellboy movies are amazing, and when the movie was rebooted and got an R rating, then it just completely took away the magic. So I didn't really care that this movie was PG-13. As long as the director knows what he is doing, he can make the film G-rated for all I care. And thankfully, the PG-13 rating was not a bother for me whatsoever, because for one thing, there are no humans in this movie. If there were humans in this movie, then yes, there would definitely be a good hardcore R rating for this one. But because it's not R-rated, there really isn't a reason for it to be R-rated, because all the people in the movie are androids. The one played by Ellie Fanning is a companion that he has throughout the movie that he calls a tool. But, of course, when it comes to android characters, they're basically, written as mostly the same, but I feel like Ellie Fanning does a really solid job here, working with, I forgot the name of the guy that plays the Predator in the movie, but his name is really long, so that's why I can't really bring it up. But yeah, at first she has elements of humor in them, and I feel like that's probably going to make people roll their eyes a little bit, like, seriously, comedy in a Predator film? We already had that with The Predator, which didn't really work so well. But she does manage to grow a lot when it comes to her character, as well as the dynamic duo that they bring on screen between the two. In fact, I really didn't mind the fact that Deck was the hero of this movie. That's another thing that people were skeptical of. But hey, Terminator 2 Judgment Day is one of the best sequels ever made, and the fact that they made a T-800 actually go good work, there are possibilities of making a hero or a villain turn into the heroine. And I feel like it works very well here. Yes, his story isn't particularly anything new or special, but when it comes to, his motive, it's basic enough. And just because he tries being a bit more sympathetic, that doesn't mean that he's going to wuss out in terms of, just not wanting to be violent, because he is still brutal when it comes to the violence between the monsters. They did state that the movie was going to be as violent as possible, even if there was no blood whatsoever, not a single drop of human blood, but it doesn't really take away from the action itself. It still kicks a lot of ass, and the Predator still manages to feel like the Predator, even if he is doing more good than bad in this one. He still has that, intimidating style, even if his look is a little bit distracting from time to time, but it wasn't really enough for me to, I actually managed to get used to it as the film progressed, because it's a simple enough story that manages to do things a lot more different than what we're usually seeing, and for some people, they will probably miss that. If you're like a hardcore fan of Predator, or used to seeing him just, taking spines out of people's bodies, then yeah, I can see why this wouldn't be your cup of tea. But as for someone who trusts the director, I definitely felt like, he earned his trust from me when, doing something a little different this time around. There isn't really elements of horror, which I do like when the Predator movies did that. Prey definitely did that. But when you go for a much more different route, because when Aliens came out, that was far more heavy on action, but still managed to be a great movie. And I feel like in this sort of sense, because it's doing things differently and the director manages to do it in a way that feels like it has more than what it seems, I feel like it really managed to pay off. It's not always fantastic. I mean, it does start watering down when it gets to a part that is very cliched, but at the same time, I kind of expected it. But it really manages to pay off with a really satisfying climax. I had a lot of fun with it. And yeah, the movie is also very well paced too. It's quick, it gets right to the point of what the movie is about. It doesn't do anything to add in too much exposition. I mean, it does, but not enough where, it starts going into a direction where they have to slow down on the action. Because it focuses on the Predator pretty much almost the entire time until it gets to, Ellie Fanning's character. But again, I feel like it still managed to work. The chemistry that these two have. There's also another creature that plays a big part that seems pointless at first. Not going to get into spoilers, but turns out to be a big part, and I like what they did there. And in the end, guys, I really had a fun time with Predator Badlands. I honestly wasn't too scared about this one. As long as the director knows exactly what to do, I fully respect what he was going for. And while I will say I do think Prey is a little bit better than this, hell, I would have loved if Prey just went to the big screen because, hey. But hey, regardless, I'm glad to see that Predator is finally back on the big screen, and it's one that I found to be very, very satisfying. It's not going to please all the fans. If you wanted more of that sense of, just seeing blood on screen and, having the Predator just, be the same, violent massacre, what we usually like to see in Predator, then you're probably not going to enjoy this one. But I was okay with the differences. It didn't ruin my enjoyment whatsoever. I still had a really fun time with this one. And I can say these Badlands are badass. I don't really understand why it really needs to be called Badlands because, well, I don't know. It's not really focusing on the world rather than, the creatures and all that. But hey, doesn't make me like the movie any less. Oh yeah, also, when I went to go see the movie, they gave me this keychain because I saw it in IMAX 3D. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I thought this mask was able to come off, but I guess not. But hey, that's okay. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and maybe subscribe for more. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or maybe Blue Sky. Links in the description. And I'll see you guys later. Word out.